This is the Allen McKinney Industrial Market Update for January 2026. If you've been hearing that the Allen McKinney Industrial Market is slowing down, the capital market data tell us a different story. In just 3 months, sales volume more than doubled, even as transaction counts fell. That's not weakness, that's capital buying quality. And this matters whether you're an owner, an investor, or a tenant, because when capital gets selective, pricing gaps widen. Execution, asset quality, and timing matters. So let's walk through what actually changes in the Allen McKinney industrial market between October 2025 and January 2026, and what it means going forward. First, the headlines: capital markets. Between October 2025 and January 2026, 12-month sales volume jumped 115%, from about 28 million to over 60 million. At the same time, the number of transactions actually declined from 44 to 32. That tells us something important. Deals don't disappear, they just got bigger. Average deal size moved toward roughly 52,000 square feet, and capital flowed toward leased, functional, and institutional grade assets. This market didn't stall, it reliquefied, but only for the right product. Now let's talk pricing. Market capital rates compressed slightly from about 6.5% to 6.4%. That's confidence in income quality and durability. At the same time, average pricing jumped from $144 per square foot to $190 per square foot. That's a 32% increase, but only at the top end. The market floor barely moved from $153 to $157 per square foot. Translation: this is no longer a rising tide market, quality is doing the lifting. Institutional behavior confirms this. CBRE, Transwestern, and US Value 9 Fund all acquired fully leased buildings in McKinney National Business Park. East Group Properties acquired McKinney Logistics Center at roughly $133 per square foot, establishing a credible REIT-based benchmark. At the top end, Dolphin and Goldman Sachs portfolios sold to Starwood Capital for roughly $685 million with Wells Fargo debt. That doesn't happen in a down or broken market. It happens when capital believes the corridor belongs in long-term portfolios. Now, for leasing, and this is where the nuances matter. Vacancy rose from about 6.3% to roughly 8.6%. Availability moved up as well, and trailing 12-month absorption is slowed. But this isn't demand erosion, this is delivery timing. Nearly 1 million square feet delivered over the last year, while absorption briefly dipped negative in the most recent quarter. The shift negotiating leverage slightly backward toward tenants, but it doesn't change the long-term health of the market. Here's the part you could miss. Even with higher vacancy, asking rents are still growing, up about 4.4% year over year. Why? Because this market is dominated by newer Class A product, and tenant demand is coming from power-intensive, high-quality users: aerospace, defense, advanced manufacturing. Meanwhile, the construction pipeline is shrinking. Projects are being phased in. Pre-leasing matters again. That's how a real glut is prevented. So what does this actually mean? For owners and owner-occupants, the pricing ceiling is meaningfully high, higher than it was in October, but only if your asset executes. Layout, lease quality, power capacity, and iOS function. In this market, they're no longer nice to haves, they're critical. For buyers, cap rates are holding because the corridor proved it belongs in institutional portfolios. And for tenants, this is a window. More availability today before the next absorption cycle tightens conditions again. Looking ahead, This is projection, not certainty, but vacancy pressure likely persists through mid 2026. But with the pipeline thinning, conditions point toward tightening of quality product again in 2027 and 2028. The market already cleared its price discovery phase. Capital is back, it's just disciplined. If you own industrial property in Allen or McKinney, this is no longer a market where just having industrial property matters. Outcomes will be driven by asset quality and timing, and that's exactly where most value is either captured or lost. This is the Allen McKinney Market Update.